Hello. So in this video today, we're going to talk about adding some percentages here to a list that we've already begun. And if you did not get a chance to view that video, I've put that video right there on the bottom of the screen. I do, you do for beginners, import an Excel spreadsheet. And here we create a list, we create a Power App, and we save the changes to the list. And it's this list right here that we're talking about with this save button. Just search Google for Lush and then this number right here, and you'll come up to speed to where we are right here. So if you've already seen that video, great, you're good to go. If not, go ahead and view that video. And in today's video, what we're going to review is how to add percentages to here. How do we get the percentage of number ones that are a total within this example? So stay tuned and we'll get right to it. So this is part of a I do, you do series. So I do it, I'll pause, wait for you, and then you do it. So I'm sorry I got ahead of you here. Let's go ahead and start with having you add 3 columns. And I don't know why I put a %3 here, but let's just put it there since you know what? I'm going to delete it. No, I'm going to keep it. So let's just put 3 of them in here. Remember, to do this, we're going to go ahead and click on Add Column. Go ahead. I'll wait. Add Column. Go down to Number. Click on Number. Hold on. Alexa thinks I'm talking to her. All right. Hit Number. Then you hit Next. Then you just type in this example, %1. Now, it's not going to do it because I've already done it. Okay, but you do this and hit Save. All right, go ahead. I'll wait here for you while you create these columns right here. I'll be here. Go on. Perfect. All right. It's looking good, by the way. You've created 3 columns. You're doing great. So now that we have this list, right now, I guess I forgot to note, how do I find this list in case I'm just in here and I can't find it? Well, the easiest way to do it is just go to Office 365 and log in, or Microsoft365.com, log in, click on Lists, and then you're going to see your list right here, Source from XLS. If you click on that bad boy, now you can add the columns there. I happen to be in the SharePoint view of the list, but it's all the same. And notice here in lists, at least it tells you number, that's a number column, that's a number column. Okay. All right. Now, if for some reason you weren't able to do the list, I'm going to pause here for just a second, let you go out there and create that. Remember, add column, number, next, add the name. All right, I'll wait. Okay, now that we're all up to speed, we're good to go. We have this. Now, I'm going to go over to PowerApps. If you haven't opened PowerApps yet, remember, you want to click on this, go to PowerApps. Okay, PowerApps will open and you'll select the Power App that we've built. Now, hopefully you've named your Power App. I think I named it Video Test or something before, but you could rename it to Source from XLS, and so that it matches the list that we create, _source from XLS. And then if you want to rename it, if it's like Video Test, for example, to rename your Power App, you can just do this. Click on the right, go to Settings, go up here where it says App Name, click on the pencil. All right, and then just say rename, app. Okay, and then just go down here to save. All right, and in a minute that will pop up and it'll rename it for us. All right, so if you need to rename your app, you can do that. Otherwise, go ahead and open this up for us and let's go back into here. Now, again, this is where we started. This is a video we started. I guess we could just leave that on the screen. It's not going to hurt anything. And now we're going to move this gallery. So to move the gallery, just click on the gallery. And you notice the lines right there? Yeah, you got it? Good. Yeah, that's right. You got it. Now just drag it. Hold your left mouse button down and just kind of pull it into place. Okay, we're going to pull it up just a little bit. Okay, and then we release the left mouse button and we got the handles back. It looks great, right? So let's go ahead and move the save button the same way. Click once with your left mouse button and just hold it down and drag it. This is no different than PowerPoint or other applications. Click again on the gallery and let's move it up just a smidge. Okay, easy peasy. Now in our last video, these boxes were in different locations. So let's go ahead and move these boxes around real quick. Because remember, we're in this primary field of the gallery, we're going to click on the gallery itself. Remember the edit button? Yep, that's our friend. Click on the edit gallery. And now see, we can move this box anywhere that we want. Okay? So we're going to move it here. Notice it has kind of a snap right there. And we're going to put it there. Now, let's rename this box. But before we go there, let's go ahead and update the data in this environment. Now, if you changed your list and added these three columns, maybe your list was open when your Power App was open and your list was open, that's fine. It's not a problem, but we're going to have to refresh the data. So let's go ahead and refresh the data on my list. To do that, I'm just going to click right here on the data button. Notice this is the tree view. This is the data button. So I'm just going to click on that. Now I'm going to go to my source from XLS. That's my data source. I'm going to click on the three dots. I'm going to go right here, refresh my data. So just click on there, refresh. Notice it's refreshing. Okay, it is refreshing, isn't it? Little pun. Okay, now we've refreshed our data. I'm going to get rid of this because I want to do, right? I'm going to do it, then you're going to do it. All right, so we've refreshed our data. Now let's go back to the tree view. Just going to click right there. Go on, tree view. Okay. Now let's click on the gallery itself. So click on the gallery. Click on the button, the pencil. Good. Excellent. Now remember the handles are right here. They're not around the whole gallery. They're just around this primary set of fields. We're going to click on Insert. Okay. And now we're just going to put in, because we want to edit. Remember the difference between a label. A label, we don't edit the information. Text input, we do. So let's do that. Edit. Now, there we go. It's right there. Okay. And we can add that new just like that if we want to. But instead, we're not going to do that. So notice that we're working on this one box right here. Text input right here. Okay, we're going to hit the delete key on our keyboard. So go ahead. It's okay. It's not going to delete everything, I promise, as long as the handles are around just this one field. So you can click on it again or click on it over here to be sure. Now, you can delete here, delete, or you can just hit delete on your keyboard. Now, notice it takes us back to the whole gallery view, not to the edit gallery view. So let's go ahead and just hit edit gallery. Now, we're going to copy this field. So there, we see it right there, num1. Okay, num1. So we're just going to click on it once. We're going to do hold down the control key, hit C for copy. Okay, hold down the control key, hit V for Victor, which is paste. All right, and release all the keys on the keyboard, and now drag that into place. So we have that text label there, and it's an text input field there, and we're going to add one of our percentages. And so let's go ahead and make this %1. So we're going to go ahead and double click on num1, and we're going to type in %1. Okay. Now we're going to double click on here. We're going to copy this. Okay, so we double clicked on this, hold down the control key, hit C. Notice how it's still highlighted in blue. I'll wait for you. Go ahead. Click here, double click here. Okay, good. Now you've copied it. Now let's go down to here and double click. Okay, and it's highlighted. So then we're just going to type in text, because it's a text field, underscore. We're going to hold down our control key. We're going to hit V as in Victor for paste. Okay, so there you go. You should be there now. And hit the tab key on your keyboard. Perfect. It renamed it to what we want. Okay, so now I know that this is a percentage key. Notice it's showing up in this other record as well for this record in this gallery. So we're going to do that first, and then we'll put a percentage outside of the gallery for the total of everything within the num1 column. Okay, so let's go ahead and put the calculation in. So this is percentage 1. You know what, before we go there, just so we know what we're doing, let's click once on this guy. Notice we're inside the first record, right? The dotted lines. We're going to click on num1. Do you see it right down there? And I don't like these labels that aren't labeled, so I'm going to put LEB num1. Okay? So just go ahead and label it so you know what it is, and I'll wait for you. I know this takes a little more time, but it'll be worth it in the end, I promise. All right, so label num1. All right, there you go. You're doing good. Perfect. Looks great. Hit the tab key. Now, num1, label 1. You got it. Okay, so we're going to click on that. Notice we have the handles around it. We're just going to hold down our control key and hit C for copy. Don't release the control key. Keep it down on your keyboard. And then hit control V for paste. It's right next to C. Yeah. Maybe that's why they named it V, because it's right next to C. I don't know. Okay, control X is cancel. So, all right. So there we go. Num1, we're going to drag it down into place, but of course it's not num1, it's %1. So we're going to need to change that. Let's change this, and then we'll change the label. Double click right here and type in PERC1. You got it? %1. Now I'm going to double click. It's going to make it blue or gray or whatever color that is. I'm going to hold down my control key again, control C, okay, release my control key. Now I'm going to double click on this, the label, okay. I'm going to type in LBL underscore. I'm going to hold down the control key on my keyboard. I'm going to hit V for Victor, okay. You should be right there with me, and then hit tab, and we've renamed that to %1. Perfect. Okay, you're doing a great job. Let's go ahead and get right into the formula itself of what this needs to look like, okay? So this is our default, okay? So we're going to go ahead and wire this up. So if you're not here yet, pause the video, go back a couple, and you can see the little chapters in the video. Go back a couple, and so you can catch up to where we're going. So, all right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next phase. All right, so let's go ahead and get this percentage wired up here. So here we're going to wire in this percentage. Right now, notice the default. So we're here on %1, right? Text %1 input box. Oh, you know what? We added that as an input box, but we probably don't want to tweak that percentage because it's a calculation. I'm going to keep it as an input box because I'm not sure how I want to deal with that. And then we'll create it as a label as well when we get done. Okay? So just kind of hang in there, and we'll do it as this, and then we'll copy the formula into a label. Perfect. Sounds great. Do you agree? Yeah? Okay. Thanks. Thanks for the feedback. All right, let's go ahead and drive on to what the solution is going to look like. Remember, we're using this item because we're within this one row, which is in the list, right? So we're in, it's not the whole gallery. Notice that there's no line down here. It's just this part of the gallery. Very important to remember throughout whenever working with galleries. Once you get it, it's pretty easy to get, okay? So here, we're going to put in this percentage right here, and we can add it as a text input box. If we add it as a text input box, remember with the toggle, we're going to have to change the toggle and we're going to have to change save. If we add it as a label, we don't have to do any of that. So if it's view only, then that's great too. But let's just leave it as it is and put the formula in. Okay, here's the formula. And go ahead, you do as I do. All right, type in text, okay? And then we're going to put in parentheses. But because we're dealing with a close, I always put in the first parenthesis, second parenthesis, just like that, okay? And then I use the arrow key to go back. Then I don't forget my parentheses at the end. And I'm going to say the total of num1. So num1 is our percentage that we want to get, okay? So we want to go ahead and type in, let me see here. We're going to type in num1. I'm sorry, we're going to type in this item because we're within here. So this item, and then we're going to click on num1. Okay? And then we're going to divide that total. So divide right there. Okay? The slash where the question mark is on your keyboard. You got it? Perfect. Now we're going to put in, we're going to do another calculation. So we're going to do some parentheses. Open parenthesis, close parenthesis. Use our arrow key. We're going to go back in the middle. Perfect. And now we're going to total up because we want this to be divided by the total of the other two. So we're going to say this item dot num2, okay, right there. And then we're going to do plus this item. And notice I'm just typing in lowercase. It doesn't matter that much. And I can just keep typing, right? Plus num1. And then when I get to the end, I can just hit my tab key and it makes it, notice it kind of does everything that I want it to do. Okay, easy. So, okay, so I'm going to pause for a minute. You need to be here before we move to the actual percentage stuff. Let me see. How's it look? Yeah, it's perfect. Let's go ahead and move on. Now, I'm going to use, do you notice the gray boxes right here? Gray box 1, gray box 2. That's because those parentheses are encapsulating that calculation, num1 plus num2, or actually num2 plus num1. I'm going to use my arrow key on my keyboard, and I'm going to go outside of that box. Notice now that the gray marks moved. Here's a parenthesis. Here's a parenthesis. Okay? That's pretty easy. Now I'm going to multiply that by, yes, you guessed it, 100, because we're doing a percentage. And then I'm going to do a comma, and I'm going to tell it the format that I want it to be in. So I'm going to put the comma in, and the format is the display, so I want it to appear like something. So I'm going to put open quote, close quote. Okay? Then I'm going to use my arrow key and go back, and I'm going to put in 0%. Wow. Look at that. It worked. Isn't that amazing? See, you did it. It wasn't that hard, was it? Okay. It's not that hard. But look, I wanted to put it inside of here because I want you to realize that this right here is the top one right here. Notice this is 33% because the total of 10 plus 20 is 30. And then, of course, the percentage of that, because it's 33%. 10 plus 200 is 220, and that's 5%. So the numbers vary just a little bit based on the values that it finds within that record. So before we leave from inside of this, go back to the edit. We're there, okay? We want to make this a label. So to do that, we're going to insert a label. So remember, our handles are around the primary record. Insert text label. And this is probably what you want here, is the text label. And then notice where it says text right here for the label. First of all, let's go ahead and change this right here to have this right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. All right, so to do that is very simple. We're just going to take And we're going to highlight. Notice the handlebars are on this, and it's right here on label 4. We're going to rename that in a minute. We're going to highlight this just like that with our mouse. So we're dragging across it. You can also just click in there, hold down your shift key and hit home. Lots of ways to do that. But so that's how we highlight. So we want to highlight the content of this. So we're going to click on this text input box that we just created. Notice the handlebars. We're going to click here. Once right after it, hold down the shift key, hit the home key on my keyboard. And then we're going to hold down the control key. All right, you with me? Hold down the control key. There you go. And hit C for copy. Perfect. Now you've got it. You're in good shape. Now I want you to go back to the label. Just click on it. Remember, the handlebars are around it, so you're good. You got it? Click on the label. Okay, good. Now click once here. Shift. Hold down the shift key. Hit home. Perfect. It's highlighted. Okay. Now with it highlighted on the keyboard, hold down the control key and hit V for Victor. Okay. And then I just want you to double click on this label right here. It's perfect. You see how it says 33%? You're smoking with gas here. Now I just want, let's name this. So this is going to be label underscore percent 1 underscore calculation. Okay? Because there's a calculation there. And then hit the tab key. So this is label 1. That's that. Okay? So I think you're probably going to want to use that label right there. And I just moved the handles. I could have done that over here, by the way, right? Adjusted. I could go 80, make it a little bigger. Okay. That is the formula right there. Pretty easy. So if you're going to do other ones, just follow the same thing that we just did. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and delete this. I'm going to click on that once. It's right here. That's the text. I can go right here. I'm going to hit delete. Now I delete and do things differently each time just so that you can see that there's a variety in how to do it. Okay. Now I'm going to click back on my primary gallery, right? I'm going to edit the gallery. My primary record there. I'm going to click on that bad boy and I'm just going to drag it and it'll help me do that, right? It'll help me go in there. And if for some reason it's not, I can click on it, click on this guy above and this guy above here and do a right click and say align left. Okay, so it all works out. Now notice here that this is a little different, right? Because it's just text, kind of looks like that text. So I could say, hey, that's okay, but I want to do a border around that. And so let's go ahead and put a border on that, just so we know it's a value. Let's go here to border. Let's do a 2, and we're going to do it as a solid line. Okay, so you know that it's there. And let's click on it again, and let's just say that we want to fill in there, and we want to fill it with light blue. Okay, whatever. You can do whatever you want. There's a percentage there. So you take that same calculation and we move it out here. So let's go ahead and do a total of all of the number ones and put them out here. Okay, so this is pretty easy stuff. All right, so let's go ahead, and we're not in the gallery, we're on screen 1. Let's go ahead and click on a label. So we're going to insert a text label. Now that we're pros at creating these percentages, this is going to be easy. Okay, so to start, let's go ahead and click back on this guy and get this calculation. We're going to highlight it, hold down the control key, and hit C. Okay, so go ahead. We just went back here to collect this so we don't have to retype it. Hold down C. Okay, you got that? Perfect. C, remember copy. There you go, perfect. Now click back on that label we just created, highlight over that, and hold down the control key again and hit V. Now, it's going to air out. Why is it airing out? I hate when that happens. See the red X? I hate the red X. Well, the reason why it's happening is because this item needs a gallery. It needs to know that the gallery, because this item's going to the gallery. So we're going to go ahead and modify this code to work outside of here, because really what we want is the whole num1 column. We want everything inside of num1, not just one of the records. So let's go ahead and do that. So we have this red lines, right? The red X that we hate so much, because this is no longer inside of the source. So remember, we're collecting the source using this item. We're inside of this gallery. And so the source is the gallery, which we've defined right here, items. Okay, now I know that's a little bit kind of to take in, but just follow me with this. So if we have this label and we try to do that, we don't have where the items are coming from. We're not calling the items. We're just saying this item. Well, where is this item? So I'm going to show you, we're going to convert this so that it supports where we're actually coming from. And I think the easiest way to explain this is to do this outside of PowerApps so we can see the comparison. So here again, this item right here, notice is in green. This item calls this list right here. But we're not calling the list, we're just calling it this item. So we need to actually, in our text that is outside, this label is outside of the gallery, so this item doesn't really exist for it. We need to call it somehow. And so we've done that. So this is the code. In the text, we're gonna sum, open parenthesis right here, close parenthesis. We're gonna call the source right here, okay? Comma num1. Just like this, we're calling the source right here in this item, we're calling num1, okay? Num1, num1. We're going to close that parenthesis. Then we're going to divide that by the sum. Again, we're going to have parenthesis here. This is our next calculation. You see it right there? That's our next calculation. Now, you can go back and review this because this formula will work on almost everything that you're doing from a percentage perspective. Now we're summing up. Notice here the sum. Again, we're pulling from num1, but we're also adding, we're right here basically where we were before. We're adding num2. So you have this parenthesis here, and this one says, give me all of the total, the sum of num1, and then I'm doing the same thing here. Give me the total of num2. See it right there? So we're in the plus sign. So sum1, sum2. If I had a bunch of them, multiple sums, I could do plus plus, I could do minus, I could do multiply, and I could do divide. Remember, minus is the dash, multiply is the asterisk, divide is right here. I can do whatever I want using the same concept and these parentheses. When I get done with the math, and the math is represented here, when I get done with the math, actually it's represented here, then I could say, okay, I'm going to take that, okay, and I'm going to multiply it by 100, and then I'm going to give it its percentage. And that's what we have. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this string right here. We're just going to hit Control, hold down the Control key, hit C. And then we're going to go back over to PowerApps, and we're going to replace it. We're going to click there once, Shift Home, hold down the Control key, and hit V for Victor. Now, with any luck, it'll work. And look at that. It does work. Okay? So that's exactly what we wanted. So I'm going to say, I'm going to collect this. I'm going to click on it once, Control C, and then I'm going to click on this, Control V. Okay? And it's outside, right? So I'm going to put it right there. Now, why is it giving me this problem right here? Let's go ahead and edit that because I'm selecting parent. So I'm just going to highlight over that and delete. Remember, because I pull it from the gallery, I don't have it in the gallery. So here's %1. You got it now? I'm going to go ahead and we're going to put in, let's say, total. Okay? Total of %1. And then we're going to go ahead and align that right. Just like that. It's 8%. Pretty easy. That's for the total of 8, okay? which makes sense. It's about 8%. Let's do the next one. We're going to copy, we're going to hold down the shift key and we're going to press 2, okay? So click once, click again, hold down the shift key, okay? And now hold down the control key and press C. So let me do that one more time, just in case I lost you, okay? You're doing great, by the way. Let's see how we're doing. We're going to click once with our left mouse button, put the handlebars on it. We're going to hold down the shift key on our keyboard. We're going to click again. Now we have 2. Notice them right here. We could also do this. Okay? Now I'm going to hold down the control key and I'm going to hit C for copy. I'm going to click just anywhere. I'm going to hold down the control key. I'm going to hit V for Victor, or paste in this case. Okay, notice it kind of stops me. It's not stopping me right now, of course. Oh, because it's way out there. Okay, then now let's do this for percentage 2. Click once here. Just click right there. Use your shift key and your arrow key and put in a 2. This is going to be percentage 2. Let's click on the calculation itself. And what are we going to change? Let me see. Well, we want num2 here. So we're just going to highlight num1, backspace, num2. Click on it. Because everything from here back is the same. We're still adding num1 and num2. We're still doing the multiplication, and we're still doing the percentage and 92%. So if we were to look at this and we were to say, okay, what are our total percentages? And I have not run this to make sure the calculations are right, but I'm 99.9%, no pun intended, sure that it's correct. So the 8 and 92 is 100, so I'm thinking we got the numbers right. And this looks about right. 10 and 10 is 20. 20 and 200 is 220. It would make sense that this represents 20. Let me see, 10% of 200 is 20. So 220, yeah, it's about 8%. And then 92% is what's not percentage 1. So we can just do this now. What happens if you have multiple percentages? If I had like num3, num4, num5, num6, I would do the same thing. This is the first one that I'm doing, right? Num2 compared to num1. And then I would just keep adding. I would just put an add just like this. I would do this right here. And I would do this for num3, num4, num5. And if I had something that was a minus, I could do that pretty easy. We're not going to get into that in this video because it's gone way too long. But that is how you do percentages on your data. And then you can take this and pump this right back into the spreadsheet itself, right? You can push it back here if you want. At this point, because it's a label, we're not going to see those numbers in our list. So that's important for you to realize. This is screen only because these are all labels. If you want to make this data available back in your list, then you're going to need to make these, as we did at around 20-minute marker, we made this a text field. If this is a text field, then you need to review this video and adjust the toggle, right? So you'll adjust default for toggle, and you'll put in this variable right here, and then you'll have to adjust save and put in that variable here. And again, that information is right here. Create a list, go Google search for that, and you'll be able to save this data back to your list. Right now, these percentages are screen only. So in the next video, we'll go ahead. Oh, what the heck? If you want to hold on for a few more minutes, let's go ahead and do this real quick. Okay, so gallery, boom, boom. We're here on the label, right? We're in the primary record. We're just going to hit insert text label. We're just going to do %1 in this example. So we're going to do %1 right here. Okay? We're going to click back on that label, and we're just going to highlight the text and hit Control-C. I know I'm going fast. So highlight this, create this text. Did we create a label? Yes, we did. We don't want to do that. Sorry. Hit primary, insert text input is what we want. Okay? Text input. We're going to, so insert text input, remember we're in the primary record. We're going to click on this bad boy and we're going to say, actually, let me look at my list here real quick. So we want it per row. I guess we could do it per row. Now you could create, if you wanted to, for these two numbers, you would have to create something. You know what, I'm going to do this in another video. I'm sorry. So stay tuned for another video and we'll dump this data back into your list. Have a great day.